Never forget, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just moments away from donning a pink knitted hat and becoming a full-blown member of Code Pink. Peach Pundit, the podcast, is a conversation filled with the personal opinions of the people who are participating. Any view or opinion expressed belongs only to the person who expressed it and not with anyone with whom that person is professionally affiliated. It's that time again, and we're really excited that you're here. My name is Scott Turner. That is Buzz Brockway. You are listening to Peach Pundit, the podcast. Buzz, how are you?
Let us serve you, Scott.
Let us serve you.
Let us serve you, listeners.
YouTube did us such a solid, such a solid. You know, I was talking before in the pre-roll, YouTube is always making me look like I'm in the middle of a sneeze or I'm yelling at you and you're just kind of smiling and always happy, but on this one, the last episode, they gave us a screen cap. I guess it's the title picture for the podcast episode. It was actually something I didn't mind. It was where I said, "Let us serve you," and I have my hands out, and Buzz is smiling. It was good. How are you, Buzz?
I'm doing well. How you doing, sir?
I am joyful. I did something today
that
I do not wish upon my worst enemy.
Oh no!
Which is part of my job. It's part of my day job to do this. But I signed up for it, so I can't complain. I watched the state election board meeting today.
Gosh. Scott, there's AI. There was the first one they had. Well, one of the recent ones, I said, hey, let me try out this AI. So I asked ChatGPT, here's this video. Tell me what happened. And it gave me a nice little summary, and I said, that's all I need to know. Thank you very much. I don't need to watch 3 hours or of whatever. So
I kind of want to know a little bit more about what Rick Jeffries is thinking, because he never says anything in these hearings. And today,
smart man,
Janice Johnson, the Republican Party's appointee to the board, and Janelle King and James Mills, the executive director of the board, decided to try to skewer John Verveer, the chairman. Now, I did a special on that a month or two ago, but it was off the absolute hook today. Like, they were obnoxious to each other.
Wow.
And James Mills telling John Verveer, I'm an ex officio member of this committee, blah, 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 blah. It was, but the most insane moment was at the end when Jan Johnston decided to take exception with an article that was written about her by the AJC, and saw that the reporter for the AJC was in the room and called on him to engage with her from the dais as a member of the state election board about the content of the reporting.
What?
And he actually goes up and says into the microphone, I think my reporting speaks for itself. Now, this guy's young. He's really young. I don't think a seasoned reporter would have even entertained going up to the microphone.
No, a seasoned reporter would have wrote several others articles about it.
Oh, I'm sure there are going to be plenty now.
This correspondent became subject to the news. Let me tell you how that's happened.
It is the most insane thing I have seen from somebody who was supposedly operating on behalf of state government. And I remember served for 8 years in the legislature. This was the most insane thing I think I've seen.
Yes.
If you didn't think the state election board should be folded before, here is just another data point for you to consider.
My. Yeah, and also, I mean, they are in the public spotlight more than most appointed boards in the state, right? Because of the controversial nature of elections, right?
Didn't used to be.
Used to be the sleepy little thing that nobody ever paid attention to, but
should be.
But if you're going to be in that high profile position, you got to understand that you're going to get slings and arrows at you. That's, you know, in the words of Super Chicken, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred. So.
Well, in tonight's show, it's sort of packed, so we're going to get to it because we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene because she went on The View. What? I've been telling you, how long have I been telling you this was going to happen? Yeah. Anyway,
And
got
Bill
some-
Maher. She was on with Bill Maher, too.
I don't even look. We're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about Catoosa County learning the hard way.
Yes.
You got to follow court orders, and contempt of court is a real thing.
Imagine
We got
that.
Trump talking about the Hyundai plant and the ice raid with Laura Ingraham, of all
Yeah.
people. It was interesting. A little update on the shutdown and some of the political fallout and some of the political ads around that. We talked about AI. Buzz was using AI. We've got our first U.S. Senate AI ad.
Yes.
A deep fake. We're going to talk about that. And Peach Pundit showing up in court filings. What?
Peach Pundit has an anonymous Patreon who would like to invite you to learn more about the Alzheimer's Association. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. No one should fight Alzheimer's alone. With your help, no one will. Learn more on their website, alz.org.
The application period for the New Georgia Promise Scholarship is open again, and our friends at Americans for Prosperity want to invite you to help get the word out. AFP will be writing postcards to eligible families to inform them of the new scholarship. Everybody's invited to come and join this postcard writing party. It'll be located at Thrive at the Mill, which is at 255 Reformation Boulevard, Suite 201, Canton, 30115. That'll be taking place Thursday, November 13th from 5 to 7 p.m. Please go and tell them Peach Pundit sent you. You can find the link for more events at Peach Pundit. We're going to have it with the description here. Thank you to AFP and all of our Patreons for signing up. If you too would like to be a Patreon to the podcast, go on over to patreon.com/peachpundit. Sign up for one of our tiers. They start as little as $5. We've got a little influx of folks coming in. We really appreciate you all. That Signal chat continues to be lit.
Leak proof thus far. So
yeah, I see you just ruined it. Somebody's going to leak now.
No,
just
don't,
because
no
you
leaking.
said so. We haven't had any, or at least none that we know of. But also, it's not really consequential stuff that we're talking about in there. We're just having a good time together.
Yeah.
And a group of conservatives who decided, we like each other. We're going to hang out. And we're going to give Peach Pundit $5 a month to make it happen. Oh, Buzz. We had a big episode last week, so we didn't get to this. I really wanted to because, I love to remind people about the pink knitted hat that will soon be adorning Marjorie Taylor Greene's blonde head. Marjorie Taylor Greene went on The View.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, she didn't breathe fire. She praised the hosts. She talked healthcare costs.
Mm-hmm.
She slammed what she calls the political industrial complex.
Roughed up Speaker Johnson quite a bit.
Yeah.
And said, told the hosts that, told the various members of the panel there of The View that it's good to sit down and talk because all you folks have ever seen of me are clips out of context.
Sure. Sonny Hostin called her a different person than I thought you were. And Marjorie Taylor Greene pushed back on that. She says, well, the things you've read, that weren't true. All of this two-party fighting, you're the victims of the political industrial complex built on fundraising and fighting and toxic garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I want to respond to that, but I'm going to let you have first shot. I'm just going to sit over here bouncing and biting my tongue while you take first shot.
Scott, obviously she is testing the waters for 2028. She was rebuffed in her desire to run for the U.S. Senate here in Georgia.
No, but tell me what you think of that comment specifically. I'm not letting this go. All of this two-party fighting, you're all the victims of the political industrial complex built on fundraising and fighting and toxic garbage.
I would say that the good congresswoman should pull the beam out of her own eye before she tries to pull the speck out of ours. She's contributed as much to this toxic environment in Washington as anybody up there. So that's my thought on that comment.
You are the toxic garbage.
Right.
This has been your brand and you've run straight into it.
Yeah.
She went on to praise the panel for having a civil conversation, saying, we're doing it in a very professional and kind way. I didn't want to do that today. Women need to pave a new path. It takes women of maturity to sew it back together. I will let you know that of all the people in politics who are women, she's the least mature woman I've ever seen in our chosen profession. I'm shocked that she sees herself as the motherly type when she's out there engaging and wanting to cause fights. I mean, that's her brand. That's why she got elected. At least she fights.
Yep.
I had Republicans in Rome, Georgia, tell me, well, I don't like her, but at least she fights.
Right.
And now she's trying to be a statesman. Now you can talk about why.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, she's rebranding. She says she's exactly the same person. That's not what's happening here, but it's obvious that's what's happening here. She's trying to soften her image to broaden her appeal because she's testing the waters for 2028. She was rebuffed from running in the U.S. Senate race. She was rebuffed for running for governor, and nobody can stop her from running for president. So I think that's the next. This is the opening salvo of MTG 2028. That's what's happening here.
My favorite moment of the interview was Joy Behar needling her to switch parties. Behar said, maybe you should become a Democrat.
Well,
she could be the next Jeff Duncan.
Populism is running wild in both parties, so why the heck not, right?
Well, that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. No, because both parties have failed. That was her answer to that. I'm so sorry. Then leave ours so we can have our brand back. If the Republican Party has failed, and you might have an argument, I'm not going to lie. But if the Republican Party has failed, then get out. Go do your own thing.
I mean, remember, Scott, she said not a couple years ago now, I guess a year and a half ago, right about the time Trump was taking office, that she was the true successor to Donald Trump. She's the true heir of the MAGA coalition. That's what she thinks. And I don't think that's changed.
It's interesting that you should bring up Donald Trump's name because he had a reaction to Marjorie Taylor Greene's little flirting with putting on the pink knitted hat. The next day, Trump told reporters he doesn't know what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene. He said that she's, quote, lost her way and accused her of, quote, catering to the other side, reacting to her push for more focus on domestic cost over foreign policy meetings. Marjorie Taylor Greene clapped back on Twitter, or X, whatever you call it. Quote said, she said, I've definitely not lost it. My job title is representative. That's for Georgia's 14th district and the American people. No one else. America first, America only. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
The next iteration in America First is becoming America Only, apparently.
Well, I take credit for that because I riffed on her months and months ago saying America First is not America Only. That if you want America to be first, we have to compete in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you become first. And now she's saying America Only. I don't know that she listens or watches the podcast. But somebody in her orbit probably was like, hey, there's this guy out here saying America First is not America Only. Now she's America First, America Only.
I kind of like that. Let me adopt that.
She co-opted it and appropriated it for her own purposes. But good Lord, I just is it rebrand or is it reality? Is this what she really thinks, Buzz, or is she just doing what she thinks is her best shot at becoming president of the United States?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I've never met her. I don't know what she was like before. We have glimpses of what she was like before she ran for office because all those videos that were scrubbed from the internet now.
Netflix still has them in the documentary, though, the Antisocial Network.
And I'm sure people have them. I'm sure people downloaded them and have them. She said all sorts of crazy stuff. So I think this is not the real Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion, is what we have seen up to now. And now it's a change because she realizes She took the lessons from that polling data that showed she'd do well in she'd probably win the Republican primary for U.S. Senate and get clobbered in the general election. So she's trying to figure out, how can I not get clobbered in the general election while still doing very well in the Republican primary? So,
well, let me offer a challenge to Congressman Green. Okay. You're in office right now. You're in the majority for the next 12 months. I don't have, after the PSC election and some of the economic data that's coming out, I have no faith that the Republicans are going to have majorities in either chamber come a year from now. But you have a year to be in the majority. And your job title, I think I recently heard, is representative, which means that you have the ability to create legislation to solve the problems that you think are problems. You have an obligation to do that. If you really wanted to reinvent yourself and as a policy-minded, solution-solving member of Congress, that's the path. Going on The View, playing footsie with the left, trying to soften your fighter image, go become a policy nerd. If you need help, there are resources. Shoot, I'll help you. That's part of our job, is to help elected officials become better at their job on the policy side. We'll help you. We have some ideas, but you're not putting forth any serious legislation. Earlier this year, you called renaming the Gulf of Mexico the most important thing that can happen in this Congress. I haven't forgotten that. If you're going to run for president, nobody else is going to forget it either. So you have work to do. You have an opportunity to do the work. Go do it.
Yeah. I mean, part of our criticism of President Trump is that he spent too much time on foreign policy.
That's part of the president's job.
Exactly. That's the main, really the main. The president is the person who represents us around the world. So that's a big part of his job. It's not the members of Congress's job to do that. It's their job to legislate. And you're right, Scott, she doesn't legislate, so rarely legislates. So go do that.
Up in her neck of the woods, though, there's this little Republican party, county level party, Catoosa County Republican Party, a non-incorporated association. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get it together. Okay. So a judge ruled Friday of last week that the Catoosa County Republican Party, because they bought into this conspiracy theory that any incorporation is owned by Brad Raffensperger. I'm not making this up.
I thought it was Brian Kemp. Well,
Brian Kemp and now Brad Raffensperger. Yeah. It's all the same cabal, the .inc cabal. And I didn't make up that term. That's the phraseology they actually use, the .inc cabal.
Yeah.
So Brian Kemp and Brad Raffensperger, that they're not allowed to, or they shouldn't, incorporate. And now these individual members are on the hook for attorney's fees from that case last year where they refused to qualify members for our candidates for county commission up there because they didn't like them. Mm-hmm. Oh, if you haven't read the decision, it reads like a principal scolding school children.
Yes, it is. It is,
and because they're not incorporated, these fines and the fees, the attorney's fees for the individuals that they try to keep off the ballot, the judge awarded them those fees and he fined them each $500 a piece, including the party $500. So on top of the $500, there are some 70,
pushing close to 80,
$73,000 in attorney's fees that have been awarded to the plaintiffs in the case. For their part, the Georgia Republican Assembly, that lovable group of goofballs, rejects, and a-holes, has said, well, we're appealing to federal court on this because we have a right to associate, which also means we have a right to not associate. Well, here's the problem with that logic. Yeah, you have a right to associate, and yeah, you have a right to not associate, but you are not the party. You're an unincorporated association.
Right.
You're not a party. The people who are the party are the people who pull Republican ballots on primary day, and you are trying to deny the members of the party access to the candidates that they wanted to see elected. That's the right of association, and you're stepping all over it. And I hope you get smacked again in federal court.
Yeah.
I mean, go make the argument, spend all your money, because the other thing about this, because garnishments are a real thing.
Yeah.
If you own your own home, look for that lien
Yep.
to happen. And going after garnishments, if you don't pay it all, here's the kicker. State law sets the interest rate at prime plus 3%.
Ooh, it's pretty high right now.
That's pretty high right now.
Oh,
Buzz, what advice would you give to the Catoosa County Republican Party officers of this unincorporated association?
stop it. Stop it right now. And fall upon the mercy of the court and work out a payment plan so that your lives aren't ruined. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know what, I mean, they're making Don Quixote look sane. I mean, this is just, good grief.
Oh boy.
But I don't feel sorry for him, because every judge up to now has said, what the heck are you doing? Every judge.
Right.
And early on, right, a judge was saying, the law allows me to fine you $1,000 a day per person.
Right.
So really, this is this judge had mercy on them.
Right.
By
You only
not
fined them
doing-
$500.
Right. By not doing all that he could have done.
Here's my advice. If you get a court order to do something, you don't get to ignore it, right? Here's my advice. Don't ignore court orders, which is what you did. You may think you're right, but you can go and have your day in court. You can file a lawsuit suing, saying, I shouldn't have had to do this. My First Amendment rights have been violated. I should be subject to restitution of some sort. I don't think you'd win that case based upon the arguments I just made, but that's the right way to do it. And if you're in a county party and you're thinking about adopting Alex Johnson's accountability rule, or if somebody in your county party wants you to, you need to print out this judge's ruling and nail it to your own door so that it's there for everybody to see when they walk in the building, and they can see for themselves that there are consequences to this. And I'm looking at you, Chatham County Republican Party. I'm looking at you.
Are they thinking about that? I mean,
don't try it. No, I don't have any evidence. I have a feeling. I have a feeling that there's one particular guy down there that they want to try to not allow onto the ballot.
mm-hmm.
You know, and we've already heard from Josh McCoon saying that when the GRA tries to do this with Brad Raffensperger next year, when he qualifies to run as a Republican for governor, that they're going to qualify him. Now, Josh did couch it in some language that gives him some flexibility. There is no flexibility in the state law. This ruling clean that up.
Right.
And then, and also McCoon played footsies with these folks saying, oh, they should be allowed to do that, which gives me the impression, especially after a few weeks ago when Josh decided to pick on a guy down there on Facebook, that they're going to try to do it with him. And I'm not going to name him because I don't want to speak into reality, but
right.
I will do everything I can to support that guy.
They'll lose. Yeah.
They'll lose, but they're just going to cause problems.
Yep.
Let the voters decide. Your job is to get Republicans elected.
Well, this is the kind of stuff you do when you cannot marshal an army of voters to go defeat people. If Catoosa County Republicans really wanted their county commission turned over and replaced by other people, then why wasn't there an uprising of the voters to go do that? There wasn't. I think only one of the incumbents lost, right? The rest of them were reelected. So you're in the minority on the views in your own community. So give me a break.
Staying in South Georgia for just a second, since we were down there, going from Catoosa to Chatham.
Yeah.
Let's head on over to Pooler.
Yeah.
Where there's a Hyundai plant being built that was raided by ICE over the summer. And we ended up making international headlines.
Yeah. Not the good
for
kind either.
not the good kind, the where ICE went in and they found a bunch of folks with visa violations working there. They shouldn't have been working. So legitimate visa concerns. That's a systemic broken problem. Probably needs to be fixed by legislation.
Yes.
You've already know all the details on that, but
Hyundai thought they were playing by the rules. So
right.
And then ICE thought differently.
But you know who else has been sympathetic to the individuals who were deported? Donald J. Trump.
Right.
Who said a couple weeks ago, I actually wrote an article about this because my own state rep, Charlize Byrd, took to her Facebook to criticize Brian Kemp for going over to Korea. She didn't mention that the president was also in Korea, but going to Korea to talk to the folks and try to smooth over feelings so that this plant can get back on track. Right. And that they can bring the employees back legally so they can train Americans to do the job. And that's what Donald Trump said. And I've gotten no word back from Representative Byrd after I wrote the post about Charlize Byrd's criticism of Brian Kemp for doing that. But maybe we stop screaming conspiracy every time Brian Kemp gets on a plane. Maybe. I don't suspect that would be the case, especially with my own state rep. But this is what caught my eye. Laura Ingraham, who is a MAGA personality on Fox News, sat down with the president and she started hammering him about H-1B visas. And she said, if you want to raise wages for Americans, you can't flood the country with thousands of foreign workers. And in his response to her, the president brought up and invoked the Hyundai plant, talking about how building batteries is a complex job and our American workers need to be trained by somebody that has the expertise because it's dangerous work. It's skillful work, but that Americans would do it. And she says, well, we have plenty of talented people here. And he's like, no, we don't. Yes. What he meant to say.
Yeah.
Allow me to be the Trump apologist for just a minute.
Yes.
What he meant to say is not yet.
Right. Well, because he went on to explain, as you said earlier, this is complicated process. Right. Hyundai knows how to do it. They're here to train, get the production line set up, and train people who live near Pooler to do that job. Right. He went on to say, you have to bring in talent. You can't take people off the unemployment line and say, go make missiles. Right. How beautifully simple and true. Right. America first is not America only. I was glad to hear the president talk that way and mention that plant specifically because it was an embarrassment. And I'm not blaming ICE. They're out there doing their jobs. It's what we have to get to eventually is fixing the system. Because, like as I mentioned, Hyundai thought they were doing the right thing. Hyundai thought they were set up and playing by the rules, and ICE thought they weren't. And so, why? This is crazy. Make it work for these folks in those kind of situations, and you'd have a whole lot less illegal immigration if there was a fair and swift and understandable process to come into the United States legally. To work, to do all sorts of other things, to be students and all those sorts of things that we want people to do. So, got to fix it. When we come back, the House is currently in session as we are recording this episode to end the government shutdown, which is the longest in history. But there are a couple of wrinkles. So let's get into it.
Golden Retriever Rescue of Atlanta, GRRA, is an all-volunteer, tax-deductible charitable organization. They are dedicated to providing veterinary care, comprehensive evaluation, and foster and adoptive homes to golden and Labrador retrievers who are abandoned, mistreated, neglected, or left in shelters throughout Georgia. We encourage you to visit their website grra.com and help connect people and dogs that need each other in their lives. You truly can make this world a better place by helping find homes of gold for these golden-hearted pups.
Conservatives Concerned is a network of political and social conservatives who question the alignment of capital punishment with conservative principles and values. Our programs include educating conservatives about the failed death penalty system and mobilizing them to bring about its end. We come to this issue for a variety of reasons. Some believe that small government and the death penalty don't go together, especially when we compare the high costs of capital punishment to life without possibility of release. Some don't trust the state to get it right. We already know that some innocent people have been sentenced to death, and for others, it may already be too late. Some believe that the death penalty contradicts our values about protecting life. Find out more at conservativesconcerned.org.
September 19th, vote is taken to extend the CR and keep the government open. John Ossoff votes no. Again on September 30th. Again on October 1st. Again on October 3rd, the 6th, the 8th, the 9th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th. I've gotten to 10 times. I'm out of fingers. I'm going to put them down and go to my third hand. Buzz is up. Buzz, right?
Yes.
The 20th, the 22nd, the 28th, the 4th, and the 9th. 15 times. John Ossoff voted to make sure that federal contractors went without paychecks, air traffic controllers went without paychecks, the SNAP benefits would be suspended, and the government would remain closed. John Ossoff did that 15 times. 15 times. Couldn't bring himself to vote yes once. And we've covered it on the podcast before. There are quotes from Democratic activists saying he's doing it for the fundraising.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Buzz. Now that it looks like we got a deal, though, right before we came on the air, somebody sent us a clip of Austin Scott. And I didn't have enough time to completely get up to speed on what Austin was saying. But we had this scandal break a few weeks ago where members of Congress and senators were being targeted by the government for surveillance under this little thing called FISA.
What Arctic Operation Arctic Freeze
Frost.
or something like that?
Arctic Frost.
Arctic Frost, yes.
Arctic Frost. So you can go look that up.
Nothing to do with Frostopus.
But the Senate version of the CR included a private right of action for the elected officials who were targeted by the government so they can get paid for each instance of them getting spied on. Could end up being hundreds of thousands and not millions of dollars. Austin Scott said he, in his clip that's on Twitter, he wasn't sure how he was going to vote, but why would they put that in there? It should be taken out. It should have been a standalone bill. It wasn't a standalone bill. They slipped it into the CR. No committee markup done on it. No traditional stuff. If Pi were here, would be able to explain all the correct congressional machinations that go into moving legislation forward, but it was stuck in. And he took a long time, 7-8 minutes, to explain where it was in the bill, how it would work, and how much money everybody would get paid and how wrong it was. So kudos to Austin Scott. Hopefully it doesn't, they're able to do something to get that out of there, whether it's a repeal effort later, although I don't see that passing the Senate if they sent it over. The only option really is to continue the shutdown, and I don't think that's going to happen. But you put him in a situation where the average Republican congressman has to decide, especially a guy like Austin Scott, has Warner Robins right there.
Yeah.
Making sure that all of his people get paid for the jobs that they've been working without a paycheck for the last 40 days.
Yep.
Oh. Who's the winner and loser in this, Buzz?
Well, I think in reality, the Democrats lost because they said, we want a permanent extension of the increased Obamacare subsidies. And John Thune, from the beginning in the Senate, Senator Thune, from the very beginning said, here's what we'll do. We're not going to put it in this. We need to vote for a clean CR, and we promise you a vote on that. That's what they ended up with. So the Republicans did not cave here. Yeah, I think you're right. They spiced the bill up. It's not quite a clean CR that left the House, meaning that it kept it at former the same spending levels. There are a few things like what you just mentioned there, Scott, but it's relatively clean. It's not, and they did not cave in and give the Democrats anything. So the Democrats lost. Now, the problem is this only goes through end of January or something, right? So we're going to have this fight all over again very soon. But at least it gets people through the holidays, and federal employees like at airports and air traffic controllers and military people and all these sorts of folks will be able to get paid for their work over the holidays. So
another lesson for the minority party, that if you're going to shut the government down, you're not going to get anything.
mm-hmm.
So it's not really even worth it.
And kudos to John Thune and the senators for not caving in to Trump's idiotic demand to end the filibuster. So good grief.
But there was other news around the shutdown that happened since we last recorded. An ad came out from Hardworking Georgians, which is the Brian Kemp backpack, who is solidly supporting Derek Dooley for U.S. Senate. Now look, I have tried my best to figure out what the logic was behind this ad, and I can't. But maybe you in the audience can. Leave a comment below. If you leave a comment educating me on this issue or any other issue, you'll be entered into our every so often drawing to give away a piece of merch like a t-shirt or hat. Congratulations, Scott Jackson. Your hat is on the way, by the way. So this ad essentially said that both Mike Collins and Buddy Carter were responsible for the shutdown. I smell male bovine feces. I do.
Yeah.
And I've tried to wrap my mind around what that could be. I went back and looked at voting records. There was in the first year, Mike Collins was there. There was no shutdown under Joe Biden. Mike Collins was a member of the minority. He voted against a CR, but the government didn't shut down.
Mm-hmm.
They had enough votes to pass it without his vote. Buddy Carter missed that vote, but has made public statements saying that had he been there, he would have voted in favor of the CR. I can't find any evidence to say that Mike Collins or Buddy Carter actually helped John Ossoff keep the government shut down.
Yeah, that's a strange argument. That's seems like it's, what's the saying, being too smart by half. Just because they're members of Congress doesn't mean that they're responsible for everything that happens there. And especially in this case, when the House Republicans did what they could, and they passed. I'd love to live in a world where we actually passed budgets and, had regular order on these sorts of things, but we don't, because we have such slim majorities rather. So I don't know how you can blame these two guys for this problem.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The narrator in the ad actually asks who failed to stop the shutdown and answers the question, Mike Collins and Buddy Carter.
Yeah.
I look, I love me some Brian Kemp. And the only thing I can say is when you create a PAC, you're not always in control of what the PAC does. So
yeah,
even though it's his PAC and he's,
I'd be surprised if he sat down and approved this ad. Right.
I don't think the governor is approving campaign ads for U.S.
No.
Senate. If I was going to put any spin on it, I would point to that and say, obviously the connection is there because it's his PAC. But is he the one who's actually saying these things? I mean, the Mike Collins and Buddy Carter camps legitimately have a beef here with that type of messaging. It's just doesn't survive contact with fact.
No, it doesn't.
Just doesn't. It's a crappy way to campaign too. You just, and not only that, but if you're this far out of the primary, do you really think that's going to move the needle with Republican voters?
No.
I don't even know that Republican voters are going to remember this shutdown.
No, I think
unless there's another one.
The danger is for Republicans is that people very quickly forget that John Ossoff cast those 15 votes
right
to block the government, because folks won't remember that.
But it's not like the Collins campaign isn't capable of pulling some male bovine
Some strange, yeah.
feces out of the hat. We have our very first deepfake campaign ad of the aforementioned Senator John Ossoff talking about how he didn't give a crap about the people of Georgia, and that's why he was voting to keep the government shut down. Now, look, I have seen the video. I watched it several times. It's very obvious to me that it's AI and it's fake.
Yeah. And there's also a small disclaimer down at the bottom that says this is AI generated.
Right. We're going to link to a news story that was done on this. Richard Elliott had a pretty good story about it, where he interviewed Charles Bullock. And Charles Bullock is political science from University of Georgia, a well-known, well-respected political scientist who pointed out, hey, this could do a lot to confirm bias. People aren't reading the disclaimer.
Right.
They're not being circumspect. You know, this thing could have life if people are sharing it in a way to say that it's real. And this is what he actually said. There's been bills in Georgia to Brad Thomas, state representative from 21st District, has brought a bill. It passed the House. It failed in the Senate to tamp down on these things within a certain period of time before the election. His bill would not have done anything to prevent this deepfake. But this is really what I think is a major concern, is the technology is improving so much, so fast, that this time next year, somebody like me or you who can easily spot the difference today may not be able to.
It's harder. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder. I mean, I think you have to recognize with these sorts of technologies, this is the worst it's going to be. It's going to get better and better and better. And we're only talking about, it's a famous video of one of the early AI videos is Will Smith, the actor, eating spaghetti, and it's horrible. I mean, it's just his fingers are all wrong, and just bizarre. And now look, it's come from that to this video that you see with Senator Ossoff that looks, if you're only halfway paying attention, you would think, wow, I can't believe the Senator Ossoff said that, right? Because it looks and sounds like him. So, and that's how far it's come in just a year and a half. So it's going to get increasingly difficult to tell the difference.
Brad Thomas did this thing when he brought his bill. The Freedom Caucus in Georgia had opposed it, saying that it would throw people in jail for making memes, and that's not what the bill did.
No.
It said if you create an AI-generated image or video of a real person doing something that they didn't do in an attempt to sway voters, that would be criminal, not creating memes. Right? Memes everybody knows are fake, or they're funny, or they're offered in parody.
It was civil fines, right? Not criminal.
Yeah. Right. Well,
not going to jail.
It would be a violation of the law of some sort.
Right.
But it wasn't, and it was very specific audience or target.
Right.
Too. It was people who were paid to be in politics. If you created a meme as an activist in your basement and you decide, or your office, and you decide to post it to Reddit one day, that didn't qualify.
Right.
Memes didn't qualify. It's actually creating something that looks real. Making somebody do something
in an attempt to deceive.
And that technology is getting so good. It's going to be so hard to be able to tell whether or not it's real.
Yep.
And not everybody's going to put a disclaimer. It was a really crappy thing to do. Like this ad for John Ossoff, like you can make the point without creating a deepfake video.
And I think it runs the risk of blowing up in their faces, in the Collins campaign faces. Now, like you said, a week from now, 3 weeks from now, nobody's going to remember this. But I hope they don't do it again, because it's dangerous in the sense that it could blow up in their faces.
Yeah, I think there should be some level of blowback to create a social norm of this is not acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed, nor do I appreciate it.
Right.
You put it out, you thought you were being cute. You probably thought you were being funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny. The joke didn't land. The punchline was terrible. And the setup was awful.
And it distracts from the real damaging issue, is that John Ossoff, for the purposes of fundraising, stuck with the far left of his party that was demanding that the government be shut down to punish Trump. Isn't that bad enough? Hammer him over that for the next year and a half. That's enough. You're not
It should
serving the
be.
interests of the people of Georgia.
Right.
People
So-
had to go to food banks were hit up hard because the Democrats shut the government down. People missed flights, all kinds of those things, real world impacts upon people.
I'm going to get back to the Freedom Caucus opposing Brad Thomas's bill for just a second, because there was a thing that happened when he was pushing that bill. So there are only a handful. When I say handful, I think right now there are 3, maybe 4 members of the Georgia General Assembly that are actually members of the Freedom Caucus here. So it's like the most inconsequential caucus organization in the state.
Right.
And one of those members, famously though, is Colton Moore.
Yep.
And Colton Moore was opposed to this piece of legislation brought by Brad Thomas. And Brad Thomas did something that was straight gangster. When he went to present his bill in front of the Senate committee, I think it was Senate Judiciary,
Yeah.
he created a AI version of Colton Moore to explain the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an audio only. It wasn't video, but the audio only was so incredibly convincing. It had his cadence. It had his tone. He has, Colton Moore has a very recognizable presence when he is engaged in public speaking mode. It looks nothing like him when you're having a conversation with him, but he gets into sort of a character. It's a persona that he projects. And this audio that Brad Thomas created, Representative Thomas, nailed it.
It did.
And he walked through every point of the bill and explained it. And Representative Thomas says, rather than me, I'm going to have my AI friend, Senator Moore, explain the bill, and has him go through it.
Yep.
I thought it was a phenomenal way to demonstrate just how this technology can be used against the very people that are sitting in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
This, if you're an elected official, this can be used against you to make it seem like you were in the well giving a speech on a very important issue that you did not give.
Because audio is even harder to detect the difference between fake and real.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time before state representatives and state senators in this state have people creating well speeches, complete with video, that are very realistic, especially the old ones before they upgraded the cameras with that grainy look.
Yes.
It looked like you were watching a tube TV rather than an LCD screen.
Yep.
Like those old videos, when I go back and I watch some of the speeches I gave on the floor, that type of AI filter would wreck me, right? Because somebody could say, and I'm getting too old now to remember every speech I ever gave. So it's very likely somebody could be like, why did you say this? And I'll be like, did I say that?
Why would I do that? But yes, there's the video. Right. It is a scary world that we're in and we're headed to. And I think, kudos to Representative Thomas for pushing that bill. I hope he brings it back and I hope it passes. But this could be very dangerous, could really manipulate and infuriate a whole lot of people falsely in elections.
Yeah. Speaking of Senator Moore, something happened last week that sent us over here at Peach Pundit in a collective chuckle.
Yes.
I wouldn't say we were bent over laughing, but we collectively chuckled because somebody sent us a court filing where I guess, Colton Moore is still pushing this thing. So earlier this year, Colton Moore had been, last year, he got banned from House chambers for making some comments about David Ralston.
Right.
Not going to relitigate that.
Right.
He got banned from going into House chambers or House committee rooms, which effectively neutered his ability to present bills. Even if you were able to get something out of the Senate, it wouldn't be heard in the House. So to protest this during the State of the Judiciary, which, by the way, is the most boring speech you could possibly ever want to attend.
Yeah.
Nothing against my friends at the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals, but I've never heard a really compelling. Nels Peterson, if you're listening, do a better job. Let's raise the bar. Give us some stirring oratory when you give the speech in January as the newest Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court. It is terrible. It is hard to sit through. And I am a political nerd.
Right.
It's awful. But that's what he picked. I'm going to go into the House chamber. And he tried to force his way in. Now, anybody who says that he didn't try to force his way in, I defy you to watch the video that Greg Bluestein tweeted out that day, where he is initiating contact with everybody. And for that, he got arrested.
Yep.
And he was charged initially with assault of the police officers that were there. Those charges were dropped later on. But during the scuffle, he ends up on the ground. Now, I have described that as a Premier League level flop. Premier League is the European Soccer League, where if somebody is in your vicinity and you want to get a penalty and they didn't even touch you, you fall at the ground grabbing your knee.
Yep.
And hopefully the referees will give a penalty and your team will get the ball. That happens all the time in Premier League soccer. It's an annoying part of European soccer. Actually, it's an annoying part of soccer. It happens.
Yes.
It happens in Major League Soccer too. So here at Peach Pundit, we engaged in a little bit of mockery. You can actually buy this T-shirt at the merch shop at peachpundit.com if you wanted it. You can also get one of these stickers. We create a little logo, it's a silhouette of Senator Moore laying on the ground with a referee over his head holding up a red card. And it says, "I flop with Colton." Mm-hmm. It was a riff on all the signs that we saw at the Capitol saying, "I stand with Colton."
Yes.
You're not standing. You're flopping.
Right.
He flopped. He was like LeBron James.
Yes.
LeBron James is famous for this, where somebody would have the ball over their head and he would yank his head back like he got punched in the face.
Right.
And fall to the ground, grabbing his eye.
Yes.
And that's what Colton Moore did.
Right.
So he's trying to get...
Even went to the hospital.
He went to the hospital.
But was shockingly not wearing a sling or anything as a result of the injury when he came back to the Senate the next morning. So.
In testimony, they asked him, when you left, were you in any type of medical gear? Were you in a sling? Were you in a brace? He's like, I had a brace on. And how long did you keep it on? He goes, well, I took it off when I got home and I never put it on. So he never put it on again. So there's no real lasting injury. But he's been trying to get Keith Williams, who is the Speaker's legal counsel, arrested for this since it happened.
Right.
And a magistrate judge refused to issue a warrant for Keith's arrest. And, Keith has had to spend some money, I guess, in legal fees and what have you. Well, the filing that was made last week was by Keith Williams' attorney, where he's asking for legal fees.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because Moore has appealed this, right? Is continuing to pursue this, trying to get the initial judge's decision to not issue a warrant overturned.
Right.
Right.
And so in the filing, this is what it says. Ultimately, this is an embarrassing case for Mr. Moore. He was arrested for committing battery against Georgia State Patrol troopers. Mr. Mulkey, who is
Corey Mulkey, the House Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms for the House. Mr. Mulkey and Mr. Williams, after being repeatedly asked to stop. As Major Langford wrote in his report, Senator Moore again used his body and ran into me and Trooper Davis, trying to force his way through. I told Senator Moore, that's it. That's what you wanted. You are under arrest. Then the video went viral. The public, rather than sympathizing with Mr. Moore, engaged in bipartisan mockery. And in the filing is an image of our little sticker that we created. I flop with Colton, peachpundit.com, which is probably the best money I've ever spent on marketing, because I handed out those stickers by the hundreds during legislative session. I saw them on water bottles. I saw them on laptops. I saw them on briefcases. I saw one stuck where it shouldn't have been stuck. They were everywhere. And it goes on to say, Mr. Moore appears to have a healthy level of self-regard. I just love that phrase. And these jokes likely stung. So he sought revenge, subpoenaing many members of the House in the middle of session with the aim of disrupting proceedings. They had to hire counsel and quash the subpoenas. At the magistrate court, he fared no better than in the realm of public opinion, because the magistrate court saw him lie under oath, disregard officer commands, and try to bull his way through the door. We made court filings, Buzz.
A great moment in Peach Pundit history.
Mark it down. A great moment. Somebody sent that to us, and I mean, I put it in the Signal chat, and I was
Yes.
This was funny. I think it was a guy named Lauren Collins sent it to us.
Yes.
Thank you for sending
the
that to
attorney
us.
is Andrew Fleischman, if I believe.
Yeah,
right.
that's the yes. But
who's a pretty funny attorney on when the moment I saw that, I thought, oh, of course Fleischman would do this. It was pretty funny. He's funny on Twitter as well. So.
Thank you. Thank you for promoting Peach Pundit in court filings. Maybe a judge will come watch the podcast. You want to talk about sports gambling real quick? We got two Major League Baseball players arrested.
I mean, wow. I mean, following up on the NBA, where you had a coach, a Hall of Fame basketball player in Chauncey Billups, who's now the coach of the Portland Trailblazers, involved in this bizarre story of high stakes poker game gambling, but also providing gamblers with information about to make prop bets over and unders. And now you've got these two baseball players arrested. The accusation is that they intentionally threw balls in the dirt, right?
Right.
Right.
So I think like they're prop bets.
Yes.
So the prop bet world is I'm going to vote. I got elections on the freaking brain. I'm going to bet that the first pitch to the second batter of the third inning is going to be a ball.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians was actually communicating with the gamblers from the dugout saying, all right, I'll go do that.
Allegedly,
and,
yes.
Well, he's been arrested for it.
Yes. But this is what he's accused of doing, right?
Right. And him and another guy, both Guardians pitchers, were doing that so that their buddies could get paid off on their prop bets. So they were rigging the prop bets.
Yes. And they got a cut of it.
Right. Which is funny because like they're millionaires. They're making millions of dollars playing baseball. Emmanuel Clase is not a bad pitcher. He could be making millions for the rest of his life. Well, not until he's into his early 40s. Right. He's that good. Because, relief pitchers seem to hit their stride around 30, and many of them make 40.
Yep.
So I don't know why you would throw all that away for a $5,000 bet at a time.
Here's the interesting thing, Scott, because it's the same thing in the NBA. I heard a sports reporter talking about this on the Big Ben Dominant podcast. Gambling is rampant among professional athletes because they are intensely competitive people, more competitive than regular folks are. They are intensely competitive. They compete at everything.
Right.
And so
Michael Jordan was famous for this.
Absolutely. And so sometimes they put money on this. Let's play poker. We're going to put money on this.
Poker is one thing.
Right.
Going to play golf against your buddies.
Yes.
And playing cash holes.
I bet I'll beat you on this next hole. Oh yeah, right. We want to put $5,000 on it. Sure, you got it.
Right.
So
and it gives them something to compete for. It gives
this
a little
is the world they live in.
risk.
And when the NBA story first broke, Shaq said something that I thought was very interesting, and I'm sure this is true in all these pro leagues. Shaq said that on Inside the NBA, Shaq said, "Look, every year we were brought in and we were sat down. Here are the things you can do, and here are the things you can't do." As far as sharing of information, because they would know, right? If Shaq was not going to play that night, then that would severely impact, when he was playing for the Lakers, that would put a real difference on, are the Lakers going to win tonight or not? Or how many minutes is Shaq going to play tonight? So people would rush and bet the unders. And if you got that kind of inside information, it makes a big deal. Just like the what you described with Clase with the pitches. If you knew, if you had inside information that such and such a pitch was going to happen to a certain batter at a certain moment of the game, you make money. So they're all briefed on what they can and can't do. So
I thought it was fascinating, the story about how they found out. Because Major League Baseball, obviously, there's been a history of gambling problems. Major League Baseball. There's a movie about it.
Yeah.
8 Men Out.
Great movie, by the way.
Great movie. Black Sox scandal. Shoeless Joe Jackson was among those who got lifetime bans. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the first commissioner of baseball, his first act was to ban these men from playing baseball ever again. One of my childhood heroes, Pete Rose, recently passed away. May he rest in peace. Hopefully he gets the peace he was looking for in his life, because trouble found him. And I don't know that it found him. He went looking for it.
Yep.
But I grew
He's
up
not in the
adoring
hall because of this, right? This very problem.
Exactly. He and the Black Sox, it was a lifetime ban. Baseball takes gambling very, very seriously as a result of these scandals that have happened and plagued it in the past. And they have hired a firm that monitors weird anomaly gambling behavior. And this firm looks across the board at all the prop bets and all the different types. And when they spot something that seems out of place, like there are a lot of people who are betting that Clase will throw a ball to the second pitcher of the third inning.
Yeah. That's a strange bet to begin with. If all of a sudden there's a lot of activity on that bet.
There were 8 instances where he did this.
Yeah.
7 of them were balls. Do you know what happened on the 8th one? No. The batter swung and it was a strike. It was swung at a ball in the dirt.
Yeah, well, it happens sometimes, right? I mean, you got a 100th of a millisecond to decide to swing or not, and sometimes you screw up.
Right. Bringing it back home to Georgia, there has been a real effort to legalize sports gambling in Georgia for at least a decade.
Yep.
I remember one time I voted in favor of fantasy sports. I remember asking a question sort of in jest. Does this mean that I can bet on my fantasy bass fishing team? I'm not a gambler. I think I've placed 3 sports bets in my entire life. It doesn't do it for me. I'm not that uber competitive person where I want to throw my hard-earned cash away on the abilities of young men who I've never met.
Yeah. And there's some crazy people out there, Scott. Texas man who's arrested because he allegedly threatened the Jeff Brom, the coach of the University of Louisville, and Miller Moss, their quarterback, because they lost unexpected. They were upset by Cal in overtime last weekend. And shocking game, but this guy apparently lost a bunch of money on it, and so he was demanding that the quarterback, trying to extort like $10,000 from the quarterback, Miller Moss, and threatened the Coach Brom and his family. So, and you hear this more and more. There was a baseball player the other day. I forget his name. I'm sorry, but he said, "I am sick and tired of hearing from fans who lost money betting on me or my team. I don't give a crap. It's not my fault that you bet on that you make stupid bets. It's not my job to make you money." So they harass players, and it's really bad in college. Harassing these college kids is ridiculous. So I am much more. I've always been against gambling. I'm much more against it now, as we're seeing it play out. How sports betting is going. It's ridiculous.
So what are the prospects now for sports betting legislation in Georgia? Now that more and more of these stories, this is coming more, more frequent.
More and more
stories
frequent.
are not rare now.
No.
So how do you think it plays for sports gambling going into next year or whenever?
I think it makes it harder because now you're seeing polling, the popularity of this is decreasing as people hear about these things.
I will just say this. If only someone could have known. You've been listening to Peach Pundit, the podcast. We are brought to you by our Patreons who reach into their pockets voluntarily every month just to give us a couple bucks. Starting at the $5 level, you can join them at patreon.com/peachpundit. We have 3 new people who rock this week. I'll lift up Daniel Shaver, Harrison Edwards, and JT Marshburn. Thank you, the 3 of you, but also to Bill Werkheiser, Brett Harrell, Jacqueline Harn, Reed Powell, John Vestal, Ryan Graham, Bo Brennan, and our anonymous contributor who wants you to learn more about the Alzheimer's Association, Mike Buchert, Stuart Wilkinson, Tony West, their friends at Americans for Prosperity, Colin Martin, James Hall, Ryan Purvis, Hank Burnham, Jeff Cobble, Shannon Reed, Robert Lee and our friends at Lee6 Media, Jordan Reed, Sam Thomas, Justin Wright, Bethany Ballard, and Ken Pullen. Lawton Sack, Eric Johnson, Kenyatta Mitchell, Sergio Ortega, Amy Davis, Greer Howard, 2 anonymous Patreons. Thank you all for being people who rock. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. You make it merch. You can leave a comment. But do that for us. We really appreciate it. You've been listening to Peach Pundit, the podcast. My name is Scott Turner. That is Buzz Brockway, Peach Pundit podcast, and all of Peach Pundits owned and published by me. But doesn't mean I agree with everything that's written or said. Be adults. Love each other. Catch you next time.
Go Jackets.